Welcome back to Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes. I'm here with the two Kevins, Kevin McCluskey, zooming in from Hungary. Where about in Hungary?
I'm in Budapest.
Budapest, yes. And Kevin Graham all the way from Stirling, or thereabouts. Aye, stuck in traffic, didn't make the pre-match, but he did come in with a big jug of milk, which will see us through the half-time. Listen, Kevin McCluskey and I'll come to you first, Kev G. We were talking about the comment made by Matt O'Reilly where he says that, he went through the process of going on about how great an experience it was for him and his family on Wednesday night. But there was a comment that was very interesting, and he said, it's just another game. And then we spoke about that example, Kevin, back in 2011 when Celtic beat Rangers 3-0, then they went to Fir Park and they beat us 2-0. We've blown that one out the water there in the first half, have we not?
Definitely, that's one of the most beautiful 45 minutes that you're ever going to see a Celtic team play. In total control, apart from a wee 5-minute spell between 23 and 28, but other than that, the goals were absolutely coming. That's like a beautiful sonnet. That first half is utterly amazing. You talk about comments. Ange Postecoglou says on Friday, when somebody says, what do you need today to be successful? And he says, what do you need today to be successful? And he basically went like that. He says, well, we need to play better than what we played the other night, consistently. And he's got his answer there, eh? He's got his bloody answer there. That's good.
Right, I'm hearing that you can't be heard, Kev. So I'll sort that out as we talk through that first half with Kevin McCluskey. Hopefully we can hear you, Kev. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Maybe you want to turn the volume down when I'm speaking then. Kevin McCluskey, give me your view of the first half overall. And obviously what I'll do is I'll throw a few my observations into the mix as well. What was your view? Can everybody hear Kevin Graham? Kevin, sing us a song.
I'm not saying he's a song.
Right, first comment that comes in. Can you hear him? You should be able to hear him.
That would change.
I can see him. Right, here we go. Right, Kev, you can't be heard, mate. You can't be heard. Talk to me, Kev.
Andy Echo's saying my mic is very, very low. 1, 2, 1.
No, you can hear you now, mate. It's fine. Aye, of course you can.
Right.
There we go. We're sorted. He's not quiet now. He's not quite. See, there we go. Very low. That's because it was picking it up from mine. You can hear him now. He's absolutely fine. He's fine. It's because somebody's been in here messing about with my mics, and I don't like that. But anyway, here we go. Kevin McCluskey, give me your views on that first half.
Well, I could actually hear Kev Graham pretty clearly, and I would echo most of what he said there, that it's been an excellent first half. We've really controlled most of that game. There was, as he said, a 5-minute spell just before the goal, the first goal, when Motherwell were pressing high up the field, getting a bit of joy down both flanks. But other than that, I think we've been controlled in how we've gone about the game, how we've played it, and we've made the most of getting that first goal. That killed them straight away, just getting the first goal. It kind of knocked the wind out of their sails, the perfect time to get it when they were on top. And then obviously, 2-3 minutes later, getting the second goal. That really killed them.
Let's talk about the goals. We'll go through them. I think that we've been spoilt today for the actual quality of the goal. The opener after 27 minutes from Abada, ball from Hatate. I'm raving about Hatate, but Kev reminds me, but look at the important ball to Hatate from Greg Taylor. Kev Graham, talk me through that.
It's actually a fantastic ball by Taylor. He wins it well. Just watching that again on the TV there. He plays it through Hatate. That's what Hatate does. He finds space. He could find space on a county telephone book. Hatate plays a great ball over Abada. A great finish by Abada as well. But if you look at the third goal as well, it was our two fullbacks. I've got 2 secondary assists. That's one for Alan Morrison.
Kevin with his whiteboard, Kevin.
So
what has happened to you, Kevin? You should just come on and recite poetry, and now you're giving us all these kind of data stuff. What's going on?
Well, I didn't want to go too much into it. I didn't really want to go too much into it.
Why did you bring your whiteboard with you then?
Well,
You've changed. You've changed, mate. A secondary assist.
But do you know what? He's right to highlight that though, because when you look at it, right? Was it for the first goal? Hatate's ball in is perfect, but he doesn't get it unless Taylor plays his pass when he does. And you just cannot talk about the third goal without mentioning the pass from Ralston. It's from basically halfway, split the defence and sent Abada clear in the right. It's, I'm not always one for going into these secondary assists either, but you can't not talk about those goals without talking about the pass that comes before the assist.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going on to the second goal, when we look at 3 minutes later, we're very much all about scoring a goal, and whilst they're still trying to get back in the game, giving them another sucker punch, it's Tommy Rogic. And this time, it's the first of 2 assists from Lil Abada. So let's talk about Rogic. Coming back into the side, there's a comment coming through talking about, right, okay, so O'Reilly's playing tremendously well. And then obviously what happens is he drops out, you bring in Rogic, and he's all about it. He scores a couple of goals. It gives the manager a headache, but the type of headache, Kevin McCluskey, that he will enjoy. It's a really good dilemma to have.
Oh, it's the perfect headache to have. Which one of 2 quality on-form players do you pick in the team? I think O'Reilly's been a revelation in the 3 games that he's played, and I think I've said that in almost every show I've been on since. And he can feel really hard done by not to get a game. And I was looking at my notes and thinking, so I thought Rogic was a wee bit off the pace in the early stages. He'd had a few misplaced passes that just weren't Tommy Rogic standard. And then obviously he goes away and curls one into the top corner. It's a perfect goal. And then he's got that movement for the third goal, and you can see that he is back. And it must be a wonderful headache to wake up with on match day to decide which one of him or O'Reilly you pick.
Well, this is the thing. Apologies, Kevin Graham's dropped out tonight because there's an issue with the mic that we'll sort at half time. But the headache that you're talking about, we didn't have that. We haven't had it all season, Kevin. And when you think about scenarios where we're playing away from home in Europe and you look on the bench and there isn't a single attacking option, and that's the situation Ange Postecoglou's been in this season. And now he's in a scenario where one drops out in O'Reilly, who's been a revelation since he came to Celtic Park, and then you call on Tommy Rogic and he does what we know he can do. That kind of thing for me is the strength and depth that we've been crying out for all season. But one thing I mentioned, and I mentioned it to Kevin Graham during the first half, I failed to mention it to you before the game, Kev, but Julien's not on the bench. And he wasn't on the bench on Wednesday night. And we're talking about strength and depth. What's your take on that? Is that a concern for you in respect of his recuperation, him coming back into the squad, being that type of player that you might think that, there's Carter Vickers, he needs a rest at some point, and you start bleeding him back in. But he's not been on the bench for the last 2 games. What's your thoughts on that?
Aye, do you know, it hadn't even crossed my mind that Julien wasn't on the bench. I've been looking forward to him coming back, but I think just how well we've been playing recently, we haven't missed him. And then actually, it's having to be pointed out to me that he's not been on the bench in these last 2 weeks. Is it a concern? Yes, because a fit on form Julien is a quality centre back. So I think we'd all like to know a little bit more as to why he's not been on the bench and what's been keeping him out. Is it a mental issue with him getting over his injury? Has he relapsed in his recovery? Does Ange maybe just not rate him as much as he does Stephen Welsh? I don't know. But as the season goes on, I think it would be good to be able to integrate him back into the team, because Carter Vickers is playing a hell of a lot of games at the moment, and it would be nice to be able to rotate in that centre-back position and know that there's a quality player to come back in if needs be.
I think the reason I'm bringing it up isn't to look for a negative, because that first half, there's nothing negative about it, Kev. But when you look at the positive, when O'Reilly drops out, Rogic comes in, and there's your result, you want to have that all over the park. So Juranovic, probably the best player on the park on Wednesday night, he drops to the bench, you bring in Ralston. Ralston's involved in one of the goals. Ralston does what Ralston does, and you want to have that all over the park. At the moment, we don't quite have it at centre-half. I'm a fan of Welsh, but you were looking at Julien's recuperation and his return, and you were hoping to see, some appearances off the bench, and that's my only concern. And then he's dropped off that that radar again over the last 2 games. But it's just something that I felt we should point out. If anybody else in the comment section thinks or knows anything further to that, has there been a reoccurrence, has there been a niggle, anything like that we're unaware of, then drop us a comment. Kev Graham's in the studio. He'll be back for full time. We just set him up like a kipper on the tech, and we'll need to plug in his mic for the second half. GG likes a tussle. Robert Wallace, Giacomakis, we spoke about him before the game started, Kevin. And again, it's exactly what he's done. He done today what he done against Rangers. He's getting right in about them. He's winning fouls as a result. He probably should have won more fouls than he did, I've got to say. And he's a big physical presence. And I think that's what he's going to give us. He's probably never going to be the guy with the best first touch in the world. He might need 2 or 3 chances to get a goal. He had a good chance in the first half. But he certainly does bring something to the Celtic side. Have you been impressed with him in the first half?
I have, yeah. I think he's been a real nuisance up front today. He's, again, we spoke about it before the game. He seems to be the player that enjoys that physical confrontation with the big centre-half. And he's had it today with Mugabe. I think he's been harshly dealt with by the referee a few times. There's been fouls called against him that could easily have gone the other way. But he's looked a handful. He's won a few high balls, a few good flick-ons. His movement in the box, I think, has been pretty good. He was unlucky not to score earlier on in the first half. I think he had a chance about the 27-minute mark. It might have been that Kelly made a good save with his legs. So
he did. It was a good save, yeah.
It was a good save. Aye, he's been really impressive. He definitely needs that wee break of getting a goal. It's the only thing he needs to add to his game at the moment. But I have been very impressed, actually, with how he's put himself about today.
Well, see, when you look at the goal he scores against Alloa, brilliant first-time strike, good ball with pace from Maeda, and he strikes it in. Then you look at the kind of panache of the goal that he scores against Hearts, both feet off the ground, manages to backheel it past apparently Scotland's best goalkeeper, and he does it with style. The 3 against Rangers, I don't think any one of those 3 chances we could say, oh, he should have scored that. He's done well. I might have looked at the header, but then it was pointed out to me from JP that it was from a standing point that he's headed, that it was a rebound. It's not as if he's attacked a fizzing cross into the box, Kev. So I don't think you can blame him for any of the 3 chances against Rangers. And like you say there, that chance against Motherwell, that's another good save. So he's coming up against goalies like Siegrist and McGregor and Kelly, who are actually preventing him from working up his goals tally. But I think, like yourself, I think it will come. One further point I want to make before we go into the second half here, as I see Ange coming back into the play, it looks as though Jamesy Forrest has come on as a substitute, so I'm just waiting to see who he's replaced. So what I was going to say is, obviously, we've got the early kickoff. Last season, we did not put Rangers under pressure. How important is it today to build on that 3-goal lead, by the way, because we kind of lost that big goals advantage that we had after the 12 goals in 2 games at home. We kind of lost that in recent weeks. And how important is it, do you think, that we keep that pressure on, we turn the screw, because Rangers have still to play Hearts later on this afternoon? Oh,
it's massive to do that, isn't it? I mean, you'd like to hope we're going to see this one out now, 3-0 up, gives us a 4-point lead. If they have a slow start against Hearts, which they're capable of doing, if Hearts come out, get the first goal, and the crowd at Ibrox turns against them, they're not used to playing under that level of pressure. They got it too easy for too long last season. So it'd be very interesting to see how they actually cope with trying to play catch up. So yeah, I think it's huge that we just keep this going. We'll, like you say, you'll hope we'll get the 3 points at the end of today, and then it's over to them. Abada and Hatate have been taken out at half-time by Ange, and Beaton and Forrest have replaced them. So let's join the second half action. We'll have Kevin Graham for the full-time whistle. We'll make sure his mic is working. We might ask him to recite some poetry as well. Kevin McCluskey and everybody who's joined us in the comment section, thank you for joining us on a Celtic State of Mind. Brilliant. Cheers, Paul.